A very good evening to all of you. Am I clearly audible? Am I clearly audible to everyone? Right. Very good evening to all of you. All right. So in this session, as it is displayed on the screen, we are going to take up mathematical puzzles. Okay. So what is a mathematical puzzle and why do you need to study it? What is its significance from preparation point of view? And what all is covered under this? So we all are going to actually understand what what are the answers to all these questions. So when it comes to mathematical puzzles, first of all, why? Why should we be studying mathematical puzzles? So the point is that your mind gets aligned with solving puzzles, and it's a very famous saying that when you solve puzzles, your mind becomes analytical. You start having reasoning powers, and logical ability gets developed in your mind, right? So it's a very good habit to solve puzzles anyways in life. And when you take a puzzle solution, you tend to have a lot of interest, and you definitely feel very attached with the puzzle, and you are not at rest till the time you're able to solve it. That's the beauty of solving a puzzle. All right. So why are we taking it up here? That's also very important for you to know. So is it just a fun activity, or does it have a purpose for you to solve? So obviously, yes, apart from being a fun activity, as I said, it's a very it's an activity that actually gives you pleasure, as well as it trains your mind, right? But apart from that, why are we taking it up under your preparation for a particular entrance examination? Is, as I said, this is the first step for making your mind get aligned with the logical thinking. Now, what is logical thinking? Logical thinking is something like, some situation is given to you, or some situation has been postulated for you, and you have to analyze whether the given conclusion in the question is valid or not, right? So a very small example, just to make you realize where your logical thinking right now is, at what level, right? And let's understand what logic basically means for us in these examinations. So I'm just putting forward a very, very simple question, a very real life question. Okay. And why am I asking this question is because I'm very sure that you all will give the correct answer, because this is very much related to your real life, right? And the moment you give the correct answer, you also get to know that why logic is so very important. So the question is, I know that there is a tendency amongst my students that whenever they want to go home, because they are hostelers, so whenever they want to go home, they bunk the class. Okay. So how do you write it in logic? Students planning to go to home implies that they will bunk the class. All right. So this is what is given to you. This has been given to you as an information that this is the trend in the class that we are talking about. And the trend is that whenever they plan to go home, they bunk the class. Now, my question to you is, this is given. Okay. Something is obviously given to you. And what you have to find out as what we say is the conclusion. Is the conclusion valid or not? So what is the conclusion that I'm going to ask you is, today there is a bunk in the class. So can I say that everyone has gone home? Tell me. Okay. Instead of saying it as a conclusion, I'm asking it as a question. So you all have the option to unmute. Anyone, please answer it. If today's students are on bunk, can I say that as a teacher, can I just decide that, okay, they have gone home today? Come on, do not hesitate. Just unmute yourself, and anyone, please speak up and tell me the answer. No one? Okay, just write it in the chat window then. Is this the right thing to say or not? Okay, so Megha says no. Megha, why? Give me one good reason. Why, as a teacher, I cannot make a conclusion that because no one has come for my class today, so it's a bunk today. So why can't I just assume that, okay, everyone has gone home? Give me one valid reason. Megha. Megha, you just said no. So I want a reason why. What gives you a support to say that I cannot conclude it? All right, okay. So let me answer it then. Obviously, if they have bunked the class, they could have gone for movie, they could have gone home, they could have gone for a birthday party, they could have just felt like studying for the next exam. Anything can be possible, right? So this is where logic plays a very important role. The question just told you, yeah, that's correct, Megha. So the question just told you that if they want to go home, why? Because obviously if they want to go home, they cannot replicate themselves being present in my class also. So if they want to go home, they will definitely bunk the class. But vice versa is not going to be always true. Why? Because if somebody is on bunk today, I cannot decide that they are so simple that they will just go home only. They can be going for a party, they could be going for a movie, they could be just relaxing at home, they could be doing anything, right? So vice versa is not always true. So this is very simple first step of logic that I have just introduced to you. All right. So a lot of people make mistakes in logics just because they do not relate it with real life. And that's what is very important. And how do you actually relate it to real life is by solving puzzles. Why? Because puzzles are picked up from real life situations. Everyone clear? So I have given you basically a motivation behind why you should be studying mathematical puzzles when you are just starting your preparation. All right. So let's take up some puzzles and you will have the understanding of this why question all the more better as you go ahead. So let's move ahead. Here comes the depiction of what we were discussing. Okay, so reasoning quiz is basically almost like solving logical puzzles. Okay, so that's the first advantage of solving puzzles, that is your reasoning ability gets really improved. Second is, as I was telling you, logical thinking. So logical thinking gets embedded in your mind and it comes very automatically. So a lot of people believe that logic cannot be taught. A lot of people believe that reasoning power, logical thinking, analytical reasoning can never be taught. It is there in somebody's mind, so it is there as a gift. I really do not believe that. Okay, it can definitely be taught, it can definitely be practiced, it can definitely be gained. It's just that you need a proper guidance for that. Okay, so that's what we are going to actually try to do today. It also helps you in the section of quant. It also helps you in a proper sequence of solving a question as is depicted in the second picture. So the sequence says like, first you think of what the question is actually telling you. So just read the question at the first stage. Then you think it in your mind as in how am I going to target the question? And then eventually a proper solution strikes in your mind. So it has to be done in a logical, systematic manner. That also you learn by solving puzzles. Okay, so a lot of benefits, and I'm sure I have justified by now that why this is an important topic for you to take up. Here comes the first puzzle. So I expect answers from all of you. So Darpanjot, Farhan, Harinder, Harkirat, Harshdeep, Jaya, Kritika, Malia, Megha, please participate, answer. You can speak, you can write the answer in the chat window. The moment you have the answer to the question, please do mention it. So I will be quiet for some time so that you can think and answer it. Yes, any answers? So by this time, you should be ready with the answer. It's a puzzle. It's not like a long question which will take a lot of time for you to solve. It's a puzzle. So puzzles are very quick to answer. You just have to understand what I was telling you in the previous slide. That is, think of the question, then just read the question, grasp it, then think of what is the logic behind the question, and then the answer should be quickly ready in your mind. Okay, so think of these three stages and the answer should be definitely be there by now. So Malia is the only one who has given the answer. Anyone else? Anyone else ready with the answer? Anyone would like to speak about it? Okay, so Parmeet's answer is 76. Malia's answer is 39. Any more answers, guys? Please participate, only then you will understand it. There's no point sitting silently and not even solving the questions or not answering or not actually getting your doubts solved. Okay, so participate. I'm going to solve this question for you now, and then tell me if there is any doubt in the logic that I've just explained. Right, so Megha's answer is 19. Harinder's answer is 39. So only two people have given the correct answer by now. So yes, 39 is the correct answer. And what is the logic? The logic is very simple. Let's take one example. Suppose whenever you talk about an year, right? The last two digits of an year. If I start from the 0th year, right? And there is some duration that has passed by, and this is the birth year of Garima. All right. So birth year of Garima is indicated here. Now, from the birth year to 1978, what did Garima say? Garima said that whatever my birth year had the last two digits is exactly her age in 1978. What does that mean? The duration of number of years here and the duration of number of years here has to be equal. Why? The logic is very, very simple. If she's as many years old as is the last two digits of her birth year. So for example, if I take up the answer, which I said is correct answer, you will realize by putting the answer better, and then I'll go back to without the answer, how do you think about it? So if I say that, suppose she was born in some year, let's not take up just 39, let's pick up any year. Okay, so suppose she was born in the year, suppose 18, right? So the last two digits of the year is 18, right? And she's again 18 years old today in 1978. So obviously, whatever this year will be, obviously will change. So if she was born in a year which ended with the last two digits as 18, and in whichever year we are talking about today, she's again 18 years old. What does that mean? It basically means that 18 years passed here and 18 years passed here. That means from here to here, how many years have passed out? Obviously, twice of this number. All right. So definitely this year tells me that from the 0th year, if this number is 78, so now we take up the values actually given in the question. So this is suppose the 0th year. This is her birth year. And this is the current year that we are taking as 78. What did I tell you? From 0th year to the birth year, whatever duration has passed down, obviously from the birth year to 78, the same duration has passed out. That is what is the question's language trying to tell you. So always try to visualize the language of the question in your mind. And where did I get it from? Because of the language of the question telling me that the last two digits of the birth year, right? So if the last two digits of the birth year is known to me, from 0th year to this year, that much of the duration has passed out. And she's as many years old in 1978. That means, again, you have crossed the same duration from the birth year to 1978. What does that mean? To find out this number, it is midway of 0th to 78, which is nothing but half of 78. That gives you 39 as the answer for this. Everyone clear? So the logic is so simple that from the 0th year to birth year, whatever duration passed out, the same duration passed out from birth year to 78. So obviously, birth year stands midway between the 0th year and the 78th year. All right. So definitely it has to be half of 78. Everyone got it? Now, as I said, you can also understand the question by putting the option there. So this is a proper systematic way in which we got the answer. There are always two ways of looking at a question. One is solving it yourself and reaching an answer by yourself. The other way is, why not use the options given there and then see whether it is fitting in or not. So the answers given by you guys, I'm trying to use that as options. So Malia gave the answer as 39. Parneet gave the answer as 76. Megha gave the answer as 19. Let's suppose these are the three options there in your question and you want to find out which is the right answer, right? So suppose I use Parneet's answer. I say that what is the age of Garima? So if the age of Garima is 76 in the year 1978, that means 76 years have passed from her birth year. So obviously her birth year will be 1902, right? But that doesn't match with the question. The question said that these two numbers should match, which is not happening. So you can solve the question using options also. That's the second method which is always available to you in such questions. Is the logic clear? How am I using the options? So the way you're using the options is verifying the statement of the question. So Garima tells her grandfather that in the year, she's as many years old as the last two digits of the year of her birth, which is not coming out to be true with 76. So this option goes off. Now let's try Megha's answer. So Megha's answer was 19. So in 1978, if Garima is 19 years old, which year was she born in? Now I want an answer from you guys. In which year was she born? If she's 19 years old today in 1978, which year was she born? Tell me. 1969. Kritika says 1969. Everybody agrees? Yeah? Everybody agrees with that? 1959. Okay. Subtraction is also a problem? Right. Okay. So how do you subtract? If you get stuck with subtraction, though I'm deviating away from the topic, but it's important for you to know. You were supposed to go back 19 years, right? Don't fumble with your calculations. Instead of subtracting 19, subtract 20, right? So if I subtract 20, it's an easy subtraction. If I subtract 20, I reach 1958. But because I subtracted one number extra, so I have to give that one number back. So obviously it's not going to be 1969, it's going to be 1959. All right. Now, does it match with the language of the question? Of course not. Okay. Now, quickly, obviously, we already know that 39 is the right answer. Let's check by option method. Is this coming out to be correct? Let's check. If she was born in 1939, right? In 1978, how old is she? Obviously 39 years old, right? Which is matching as per the language of the question. Got it, everyone? So obviously every such question will always give you two methods. Why? Because in these competitive examinations, it is different from your school exams wherein just a question is there and you are answering it. Not always, right? Here, you might have options to a particular question, and most of the reasoning questions do have options, most of them, right? So obviously, you should take the advantage of options being there if you are not able to find a method for solving the question directly. Any doubts till here? Everyone done with the first puzzle? Any doubts? So now you know the logic and the shortcut. So the shortcut is, just remember the shortcut. It's very important after investing so much time on a puzzle, remember the shortcut. Shortcut is, if such a language comes up, whatever this number is, I have to just divide this by 2 and that will be my answer for the birth year. Okay. So shortcut should get registered in your mind after having invested time on understanding it from the logic point of view. Let's move to the next puzzle. Yes, this one is quite an easy one to think of. Okay, so Harshdeep is saying sister is older. All right. So the question is asking for who is older. The answer has to be either the sister or the brother. So I've got at least one answer. Okay. Harkirat is also saying the answer is sister. Okay. So two people are saying sister is older. Farhan says no, brother is older. All right. There are only two answers possible, and I've got both of them from you guys. Let's see the correct answer. A lady and a gentleman are sister and brother. We do not know who is older. The question says someone asked them who is older. The sister made one statement that I am older. Brother made one statement that I am younger. At least one of them was lying. Who is older? Now, before you start solving such a question, please remember it's a typical category of question wherein two people are making some statements, right? How many situations are possible from a broader point of view? I'm not just emphasizing on solving this particular puzzle itself. I'm saying let's in general talk about such questions. When two people are making some statements, so one of them is the sister who is making a statement, and the other one is the brother who is making a statement. How many total situations are possible about the validity of their statements? It could be that both of them are telling me the truth. It could be that both of them are telling me a lie. Maybe sister is telling me a lie and brother is telling me a truth, or vice versa. These are the only four situations which are always possible under the category of such questions that you are solving. All right. Now, the question made it very simple. At least one of them was lying. What does that mean? This case is eliminated from my question. At least one of them has to be lying. So maybe the brother is lying, or the sister is lying, or both of them are lying. Now, look at this specific question. The statements made by sister and brother, are they contradictory to each other? Answer it. The statement that the sister is making and the statement that the brother is making, are they contradicting each other or not? Sister says, I'm older. So if sister is telling the truth, brother automatically becomes the younger, and vice versa. If brother is saying the truth that he's younger, obviously sister automatically becomes older. What does that mean? They two are making a statement which is compatible with each other. Are these two situations possible at all? Of course not. All right. Why? Because if one of them is telling me the truth, the other one automatically becomes a truth. So this is also ruled out from your question because of the type of statements the two people are making are not contradicting each other. So what are you left with? You are just left with one situation, that is both of them are telling me a lie. So if both of them are telling me a lie, of course, sister is younger, brother is older. So the answer is brother. Is that clear to all of you? That's the exhaustive way of looking at this category of questions, wherein you observe that two people are making some statements and the question will give you four particular options in general. Then as per this question, because it was said that at least one of them was lying, I could get rid of this situation. Because of the kind of statements made by the two people were not contradictory, I got rid of these two situations, right? So obviously this was ruled out first. These two were also ruled out. I was just left with this situation. That is, both are telling me a lie. Everyone clear? Any doubts? Now it's clear? Okay, let's quickly move to the next question. So follow those three steps. Read the question, think about a procedure that is needed, then come to a conclusion how to solve it. So who would like to tell the approach for solving this question? This is a typical third category. So every puzzle I have tried to cover a typical category. First puzzle was simple, logic based. Second puzzle was based on people saying some statements. Third puzzle is based on a particular way of solving the questions. That's correct, Kritika. Could you speak up and explain it to all? Kritika, unmute yourself and tell me the approach that you're sharing with me in the chat. What is this approach called as technically? Kritika, would you like to answer? Farhan? Anyone would volunteer to speak up? Harinder? Harkirat? Harshdeep? Jashan? Jaya? Kritika? Megha? Paras? Anyone? Okay, so Megha, you're giving the answer, but you're not speaking up. I'm just asking for what is this approach called as? Kritika, you've already answered it in the chat. I want you to share it with everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Kritika.
Yes, ma'am. It's a backward approach. We will add the number of apples we are left with, and by doubling it, like we have 7 apples, then we will double, and for the half apple, we will add one more to it.
All right. So, Kritika, yes, the approach you correctly mentioned is called as moving backward. That's correct. You have to move backward. Why? Because the question has given you a situation that this guy, Mohan, has distributed apples to 3 of his friends. And after doing that, he's left with 7 apples. Now, the question is asking me to go back and tell me how many apples did he have in the beginning. So, obviously, this approach is called backward approach. So, third puzzle is trying to cover the third concept that you will face a lot of times in the questions, that is moving back to the initial stage, obviously called as backward approach. Now, how to apply the backward approach? Again, I will first take a small example from real life, and then I will come back to solving this question. Okay, so my logic is that once you understand it from the real life connect, then you understand the puzzle also very easily. So right now, forget about the question. Answer this. Suppose I had 10 apples, right? And I decided that I will give to Megha half of the apples. So whatever the question is doing, I'm doing the same thing. He gives half of the apples, then half an apple. What does that mean? I am carrying 10 apples and I decide that I will give Megha half of the apples that I'm carrying. So how many apples do I give to Megha? Come on, please answer it. Half of the apples, just this much. How many apples do I give to Megha? Obviously 5, that's correct. So Megha is curious to give me the answer because she's going to receive the apples, right? Okay, so Megha, I had 10 apples. I gave you 5 apples, but then I decided let's give little bit more. How much more did I decide? I decided to give half an apple more. What does that mean? I actually ended up giving her half an apple more. All right. This is what this person is doing, and that's exactly what I have done. Everyone clear? Now, after giving these 5.5 apples to Megha, suppose I stop here. I don't do it with 3 people. I just do it with Megha and I stop here. How many apples will I be left with? Quickly tell me. How many apples will I be left with?
4.5.
Correct, Farhan. 4.5, right? Now, from the leftover, if I tell you to go back to the initial number of apples, what is the approach that you are observing? I have to add half to it so that this number becomes 5. Then I have to multiply it by 2 so that the number becomes 10. So right now, the calculation is very much clear in front of you. From this leftover, let me use a different pen for this. From this leftover, I have to go back to the initial number of apples. So what will I do? I will first add half to 4.5 so that it becomes 5. Then I will multiply this number by 2 so that it becomes back to 10. This is called as backward approach. Why? Because when I was giving the apples, what happened? I first made my apples become half of the apples. Then I gave away another half of an apple to her. When I'm taking back all my apples so that I get back to where I started from, what will I do? First, I will ask Megha to return my half apple back. then I will double my apples. Why? Because backward approach says that what you did will be reversed and will be reversed in the opposite direction also. What is the opposite of making something half? Obviously, doubling it. What is the opposite of subtracting something by half? Obviously, adding half. But please remember, you are moving backward. So this will be done first, this will be done later. That's what backward approach means. Is that clear to all of you? So backward approach says that you will be going back. So what you did first will be reversed later. What you did later will be reversed first. So in our question, we were making our apples become half in quantity and then giving away another half of an apple. So when I'm moving backward direction, I will first be reversing this, that is adding half to it, and then I will be reversing this, that is doubling the number. But please remember, the direction is also opposite. This will be done first, this will be done later. So now you know the procedure, it's just the calculation left, but the only difference is I took only one person in consideration. Mohan did that with 3 people. So you will have to apply this backward approach also 3 times. So this calculation will be done 3 times. And how will it be done? First add half to the number, and then whatever you get, make it double. Got it, everyone? And which number do you start with? You start with 7, do this process 3 times, and then you reach the answer. So only Farhan has answered it. I want everyone to answer it. Quickly try it. It's just the calculation left for you. So do this calculation of adding half, doubling, adding half, doubling, and adding half, doubling 3 times, starting from 7. That's correct, Vibhati. That's correct, Farhan. Kritika, you have just done small calculation error. Otherwise, you are very close to the answer. So what's the first calculation? 7, okay, will become what? First add half to it, make it 7.5, then make it double, so it will become 15. Okay, so the first calculation tells me that the number is 15. Now the second step, add half to it, make it 15.5, and then double it, making it 31. Then add half to it, making it 31.5, and then doubling it, making it 63. I have done this process 3 times. Now I have to stop. So the answer is 63. Got it, everyone? Have you understood the backward approach? Okay, so just one quick review of backward approach. Everyone clear or not? Only then I'll give another question. I'm not actually giving another question. I'm just giving you one situation and you have to tell me what will be the backward approach doing. Jashanpreet, you want to speak up? Or was it by mistake?
Yes, ma'am. Clear,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Clear. Okay. So let's take up another situation. Suppose while moving forward, you were making the number go 1/3 and then you were giving away another apple. So another one was being given away. What will be the backward approach? Quickly tell me. Suppose this was being done with 5 people. Quickly tell me the backward approach. So what I did was I gave 1/3 of my apples and then I gave another 1 single apple. Jashandeep, would you like to speak up? It's Jashanpreet actually, sorry.
No, ma'am.
No? Why not? Give me the answer for this. Can you tell me the backward approach, Jashan? Jaya? Kritika? Anyone? Okay, Jaya.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Jaya.
First, we'll add 1
Okay.
to the number
Right.
and then we'll multiply it by 3.
Very good. And how many times will I do it?
There are 5 people, so we'll do it 5 times.
Very good. Correct. Okay. So whatever the last number will be given to you in the question, you will be adding 1 to it and then multiplying this answer by 3. And this process will be done 5 times. Very good. Okay. So I think now the procedure is clear in your mind. So remember the learnings. Puzzle 1 was simple. Just make that number half what was given to you in that language. Second puzzle just said that if you are having some conversation of people, there are 4 cases possible, and as per the language of the question, you will get rid of some cases. Third question, based on the approach, which is called backward approach. Let's move ahead. Again, a very simple real life situation. Anyone is thinking that this puzzle is kind of incomplete. It also depends upon what is the mode of transport available to the two people, how fast they are, who is the lazy one and who is the faster one, obviously. So those constraints have been kept as a controlled one here. So keeping in mind that both the people are using the same mode of transport with the same speed, everything is same. It's just the clock which is being taken into consideration. No other personal factors of these two people are being taken into consideration. All right. And please, the second thing is, do not get confused with the word you and me, right? So me and you are the two words, or I or my or whatever word they have used, right? So it's basically indicating that one person has been named as the one who is using the word my, I, or me, right? And the other one is you. So your answer has to be like this. These are the two names of the people. So do not get into who is this me and who is this you, right? So just imagine that there are two people being taken up in this question. One person has a name, say me, and the other one has a name, say you. These are just two names for you. Okay. And you have to tell me which one of them will reach there faster, depending only upon the clock, not because of their personal speeds or something. All right. Is it me who reaches faster there, or is it you who reaches faster there? Not the literal meanings of me and you to be taken. Just assume that these are two names of people. Otherwise, you will get utterly confused. Okay, Farhan, that's a very confusing answer. My answer is your. What does that mean? The answer has to be either me or you. Which one? Okay, let me give them options. Me is option number 1, you is option number 2. Which option? So Farhan's answer is very interesting. My answer is you. Right. So which one do you think is the answer? So Farhan, I think you want to say option 2 is the answer, right? Jaya, you also going with option 2. Farhan's answer is option 2. Yeah. Right. So most of you are going with option 2. As I said, it's a very simple question, nothing very complicated about it. Okay, let's see. So the question was, my watch, so who this person is this person me, okay? My watch is 10 minutes slow and I'm under the impression that it is 5 minutes fast. So the watch is actually, so let's take a reference point. It's very important to understand such questions with a reference point if you're not able to understand it otherwise, okay? So if suppose you are sitting at 12 o'clock position and your watch is actually 10 minutes slow, what does that mean? Your watch is showing not 12 o'clock, your watch is showing 11:50 right now. All right. So my watch, so whosoever this person is, we are talking about him right now. His watch is running 10 minutes slow. So let's take the reference point is 12 o'clock. The actual time is 12 o'clock and the watch is showing 11:50. And he's under the impression that it is 5 minutes fast. It is 5 minutes fast, that he thinks that the watch is showing 11:50, but actually speaking, it is 11:45 because he's thinking that his watch is running little faster. All right. So what is the time perceived by this person in his mind? It is 11:45 that he perceives in his mind as the right time. Now let's come to the other person. You is another person who thinks that, so his watch is 5 minutes fast, right? So if his watch is 5 minutes fast with the same reference point, his watch is showing 12:05 right now. But he is thinking that it is running 10 minutes behind the schedule. So what time does he think in its mind? He thinks that It's actually 12:15 right now. So who is under more pressure to catch the train? Obviously, this person is under more pressure to catch the train, right? Obviously, he will reach there faster. And who is this person? The one we called as you. So the answer is you. Is that clear to everyone? So in case if you were not able to understand it, then the reference point works very well. Otherwise, yes, it was a very simple question to visualize also. So if somebody's watch is running slow and he's thinking that it is running fast, obviously he is running way behind the schedule. Somebody's watch is running fast and he thinks that his watch is running slow, he moves way ahead of the schedule. So obviously who reaches faster is the one who is running ahead of the schedule, right? So that's a very crude way of looking at the question. And this is like a precise numerical way of looking at the question. So these are the two timings perceived by the two people. So obviously, Kritika, in that case, the answer will become cannot be determined because nothing is mentioned in the question. So that's what I said. If this puzzle has an option of cannot be determined, I would prefer to go with that option because nowhere the question says how far is their home from the station, what is the mode of transport being used by the people, what is their speed at which they are traveling, how much traffic do they encounter on the road. Nothing is mentioned, right? So if your question gives you an option of the type cannot be determined or none of these, I would prefer to go with that. But of course, we are solving only when all the answers are like, you have to just find out between me and you, and there is no option like cannot be determined. So then you will say, okay, fine, keeping all other factors constant, we are just focusing on this clock indicating or motivating the person to move faster or slower. Right, Kritika? So I clarified that doubt before starting with the puzzle itself. Got it, everyone? So keeping all those factors constant for the two people, we have answered it. That is just on the basis of the clock, all other factors not even playing any role. Any doubts? Okay, so let's move ahead. So next in line is Harinder, and I would want you to answer this question now. So again, follow those 3 steps. Read the question, get it clear in your mind what the situation is. Try to visualize the situation by thinking that you are the one who is on the holiday. And then think of the logic of solving the question and come up with a solution. Yes, anyone ready with the answer or the approach? So Harshdeep, Harkirat or Harinder, any one of you would like to unmute and tell me the answer? Or at least the approach of solving the question? No one? Harshdeep? Harkirat? Harinder? All right, so Jashan has already answered. Jaya, Kritika, Megha have already participated. Paras, would you like to answer it? Paras? All right, so Vibhati, I'll take up the answer that you have mentioned. I'll just discuss it. Paras, would you like to speak up and at least share the way you are thinking of solving the question? Shikha? Shikha, you haven't participated yet. Would you like to answer? I'm not even expecting a correct answer. Don't worry. Just share the approach that is coming to your mind, because I want to see the line of thinking that you are developing for the question. No? Okay, so Farhan says it's 21. Any other one who would like to answer? Okay, then let me share the approach. So the question says, a group of friends and me went on a holiday to a hill station. It rained for 13 days, but when it rained in the morning, the afternoon was lovely. So that means they are not considering raining to be a very lovely thing to happen. So what they're saying is, the days are bifurcated or categorized as something happening in the morning and something happening in the afternoon. That's how they have categorized their days, right? And what they have mentioned is, sometimes it will rain in the morning and not rain in the afternoon, or vice versa, or it might not rain at all, or it might rain on both days. So both the durations. So as I was explaining in that second puzzle, remember that I said when two people are conversing, there are 4 cases possible. What are those 4 cases? Both of them telling me the truth, both of them telling me a lie, or the first one telling me a truth, second one telling me a lie, or first one telling me a lie and second one telling me a truth, right? Similarly, in this question also, it's kind of the similar situation. In the morning and in the afternoon, what I can have is, so it rains in the morning and doesn't rain in the afternoon, or it rains in the afternoon, doesn't rain in the morning, or maybe it doesn't rain at any of the 2 timings, or maybe it rains at both the durations. What is not allowed as per the question? So for example, here also something was not even allowed by the question. Which case has been clearly stated by the question is not allowed? Can you tell me? It says it rained for 13 days, but when it rained in the morning, the afternoon was lovely. And when it rained in the afternoon, the day was preceded by a clear morning. What does that mean? It can rain only in one of the timings, either morning or afternoon. So the last case, correct Megha, the last case has been eliminated by the question. Why? Because of this language. It cannot rain at both timings is clear from this statement. When it rained in the morning, the afternoon was lovely, and when it rained in the afternoon, the morning was lovely. That clearly means you cannot have rain at both the timings. Got it? So we are left with only 3 possible situations in our question. Now, suppose this thing happened on some A number of days, this thing happened on some B number of days, and this thing happened on some C number of days. All right. Now, use the numerical values mentioned in the question with respect to this ABC. Let's use this number first. It rained for 13 days. Total 13 days were there in which you happened to see the rain. What is this in terms of ABC? Quickly tell me. On how many days could you see the rain? It is A number of days when you saw it in the morning. It is B number of days when you saw it in the afternoon. But yes, in both these number of days, you definitely saw that rain was happening. So the first number basically corresponds to A plus B. Got it, everyone? Now let's move to this number. Altogether, there were 11 very nice mornings. And please remember, they are using the word nice when it doesn't rain. All right. So 11 very nice mornings. That means the mornings in which it did not rain. Where is that? The morning did not rain happened on this as well as this. So it is B plus C, which is mentioned as 11. Now let's move on to 12. 12 very nice afternoons, and nice is used for when it doesn't rain. So how many afternoons did it not rain? It is A and C. So this 12 is nothing but A plus C. All right. what happens when I add all the three equations? I will have A coming 2 times, B coming 2 times, C also coming 2 times, and on the left hand side, the three numbers are getting added. The question asks, how many days did you do holiday? Which is nothing but A plus B plus C, which will be what? Half of the sum of these numbers. All right. So I'm making some space here. What I'm saying is now you have the question simplified in the form of equations. All right. Because I have observed that grad students, the ones who are in school right now, they prefer equations because that's what you are always loaded with, right? So if you add the three equations, what do you have on the left hand side? The sum of the three numbers. What do you have on the right hand side? A coming twice, B coming twice, C coming twice. But I'm interested in this number. So just divide this 2 on this side. So what is the shortcut logic? Just add the three numbers and divide it by 2. Got it, everyone? So that's correct, Vega. Now you have given the correct answer. So the logic or the shortcut is add the three numbers and divide by 2. Got it, everyone? So when you add the three numbers, you get 36. When you divide it by 2, you get 18. So the answer is 18 days you had the holiday. Now, what you did in this equation form could also be understood by just logic of the question, right? Now it will be easy for you to understand the logic because, as I said, school students normally are very attached with equation method. Once the equation method is clear to you, let's understand how could I just look at this question without equation also. So my question was telling me that there were 13 days in which it rained. It could be raining in the afternoon also, it could be raining in the morning also, right? So two kinds of days are included here. This one, 11, is including all those days in which it did not rain in the morning, right? But it could rain in the afternoon or it might not have rained in the afternoon also. This is also including two categories of days. 12 very nice afternoons, which means it did not rain in the afternoon, but morning it could be raining or it could not be raining. What you realize is all three of them are covering two categories of days each time. So when I take all three of them together, right, two categories of days are taken up, whereas in all, I had only three categories allowed by the question. So they are taking up six categories. I needed three categories. So what I had to do was just add them and divide by 2. That's a simple logic or without equation method that you have for the question, right? But I'm sure, as my experience says, most of the school students always prefer equation method because that's what they are habitual to. But yes, of course, keep it in mind that we will gradually train you to not always rely on equations. It might be there as a habit in you for the initial stages of preparation, but we will make it sure that you understand the shortcuts and come out of this habit so that you're not always relying on equations and variables and making the situation complicated when it can be handled with a very simple logic. But that happens gradually with our guidance and it will definitely happen also. All right. Any doubts with this puzzle? Any doubts? Okay, so now because it's almost time, so I'm sharing the details of the course with you. So I'm sure you all know that for the classroom session, since it's not happening right now because of COVID, so you will have all the classes online, but it will be there only till the lockdown is there. And once it is taken off by the government, then obviously the classes will be offline for you. That means the classroom sessions will start happening in your respective centers. So till then, what you have is recorded concept videos. So in these recorded concept videos, what is there for you is all the concepts with all the possible shortcuts and the approach for each and every question. So like I was summarizing for you that your approach of preparation should not be solving questions. Please remember there is a huge difference between solving questions and understanding the approach. I can solve a question by spending half an hour on the question, but that's not the right approach. We never have that much of time in these competitive exams. So you have to understand the correct approach, the shortcut approach, which is there hidden in the question, right? So that all is there for you to understand the basic concept, and the shortcuts and everything will be there in the video form so that you can watch it as many times as you want till it really gets clear in your mind. Then AI based national tests. So these national tests are very close to the actual exams that you are going to face. In fact, sometimes they are even of the higher level than the actual exam that you're going to face, so that you're ready for that exam and you're well prepared and you know where you stand. Because these are national tests, you already know your standing and you can decide your strategy and rework as per your performance in these tests. All right, so it's very important to take tests. It's not like any other academic exam that in which you first study, finish the syllabus, and then take the exam. It doesn't go like that for these competitive exams. The exams or the tests have to go hand in hand. Okay, so for that, you will also have full length mock test, which will be very beneficial again for the same reason. And you will have interactive live lectures the way you had it today. And interactive is very important. So interaction from students has to be very important. The more you participate, the better you understand, right? And then you have a Telegram discussion group in which you can get your doubts solved 24/7, and you can post your questions, and somebody from our side will always be there to help you out within a limited time frame, right? And you will definitely be taught by the senior most faculties. And this is the link that you all can somebody is trying to talk. Okay, no. So this is the link that you can try, and you can definitely get more details if you want. Otherwise, I will also be sharing a screenshot with you in which all the details of the centers are available. So whichever center suits you better in terms of your proximity, you can definitely get in touch, and the phone numbers will be displayed on the screen, so that you can get to know all your queries can get sorted by the respective centers, right? So when how the classes are going to start for you, and the duration of classes, and the fees, and the scholarships, and everything, so all those queries will be handled. And let me just share that screen. So this is what you have to go through. So decide as per which center suits you the best, and get in touch with them and get all your queries answered. Otherwise, you can definitely go through that link also. That will answer also most of your queries. Now, anyone wants to ask anything, you can definitely unmute and ask your queries. Anyone has anything to ask? So this being a short class, we have just done for 5 puzzles. But remember, as I said, you must have a habit of not solving questions, okay? Because every school student thinks that if on a particular topic, that's how you take math actually in real life in till school. That on a particular topic, if I've solved 20 questions, I'm done with the topic, right? It's not about solving questions. After solving each and every question, make it a practice when you are preparing for these competitive exams. After solving each and every question, pause for a second and ask yourself, what did I learn from this question? Was there a better approach for this question? Did I spend too much time? Did I make it too technical by introducing equations and variables and everything? Did it have a shortcut approach which I didn't apply? All these questions, when you ask yourself, you are actually moving in the right direction of preparing, right? Because it's not an academic exam wherein subjective answers are needed, all the step marking is there. Obviously not. So you have to come out of that habit in which you're writing each and every step, you're writing the variable, you're writing the equations as if somebody's going to check your rough notebook and give you marks as per that. Of course not. Your more emphasis should be solving the question accurately in the least possible time, and that will happen only with a proper guidance, with a proper mentor telling you how to actually achieve that. So for that, you will have to definitely adopt the way we will be telling you to solve a question. Trust me, the questions that do come in these exams can be handled, but as a school student, you might do those questions in 5 hours, whereas you might be needed to do it in 3 hours, right? So how do I curtail that time is what we are going to teach you. That how do you become quick and accurate, because they have to go hand in hand. You can't be just very good in speed and not even bothered about your accuracy, because that will take you to negative marking, which is anyways a blunder for you, right? So for that, of course, you need a proper guidance, and that guidance will definitely keep coming from us. How do you strategize your exam? Where do you stand? What are your improvement areas? Everything will keep coming as a guidance from us. All right. Any doubts that you guys want to ask before I end the session? Anyone wants to ask anything? All right. So this brings me to the end of the session. Take care and do study. It's a very crucial time for you. right? And it was nice interacting with you guys. Some people were definitely answering and trying and solving the questions. And I hope you have learned something in this short session that you have had. And keep the learning and in your mind. And the better thing that I have told you is how to prepare. That should always help you out in terms of how to study. All right. So take care. Good night. Goodbye to all of you. Thank you so much, Farhan.